This story comes from the pages of Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay Issue number 4. Please support the official release. The final issue opens, where we see Bruce Banner and Groot, who had finally made it to Avengers Tower, where Bruce was hard at work making the antidote for this world's zombie virus. The duo had come to realize that it was not Groot who had started this pandemic after all. Rather, it was Captain America who had been infected by General Ross. With the good Captain being Patient Zero, Banner purposefully led him and the fellow infected Avengers members to the tower so they could restrain him and get a sample to make the cure and finally end things. With the zombies quickly en route, Bruce told Groot that despite them having access to high-end technology, this would still take some time, and it would be up to him to keep the infected away from his lab as he worked. Not fully confident in his abilities to take on a fully zombified Avengers squad, Bruce then put Groot's worries to rest, where he reassured his friend that he would not be alone in this battle. Admitting that he secretly knew Tony Stark's room password, Banner then gained access to the Hall of Suits, where he entered a full-on Hulkbuster and summoned an entire fleet of Iron Man suits in pacify mode to keep the monsters at bay so he could work. Meeting atop Avengers Tower, the pair were soon met by the zombie Avengers, where we see that the virus had even spread to the likes of Wasp, Falcon, Black Panther, and even Scarlet Witch. Still not seeing Captain America just yet, our remaining heroes went to war with the zombies, resulting in a vicious battle aboard the rooftops. A battle made much harder by the fact that they still had to be nice and keep their friends safe and alive. It's like trying to do a no-kill run in COD Zombies. Essentially impossible. Even having to use his own body to shield the zombie Wasp from breaking her neck, Groot then came front and center with his target, where Steve Rogers would emerge, covered in even more fungal-like growths, where he pinned poor Groot to the ground and went to decapitate him. Before he could turn the Guardian of the Galaxy into a deluxe Chia Pet, Cap was then snatched by Banner in the Hulkbuster suit, where he managed to get his glove with the viral residue on it, victory seemingly being close at hand. However, as any good horror story goes, our heroes would not have it this easy, where out of nowhere, Tony's suits began rapidly exploding one by one. Wondering just what could have caused this, the men were horrified where they looked to the skies and witnessed a now fully infected Captain Marvel. Despite not having access to her full mental faculties, Carol was still as deadly as ever, where she began to blast Banner's Hulkbuster apart piece by piece, all to get to the fleshy prize inside. Quickly ejecting from the suit, Bruce and Groot made a run for it toward the lab, only for the doors to be blown open by the zombie Carol, sending both men hurtling inside. With the undead closing in, Banner sprinted toward the lab, where he quickly shut the doors and began the scanning process on the glove, saying that if they were lucky, the doors would hold and they would have their antidote in just a few hours. Unfortunately, Lady Luck would not be on the duo's side, where they soon heard a violent scratching sound from the lab vents, where emerged an infected Rocket Raccoon, whom we have not seen since issue 1. This is absolutely horrifying. With Groot initially being delighted to see his long-lost friend, this soon turned to pure terror, where Rocket immediately pounced upon Bruce and tore into his arm, infecting him with the alien virus. Absolutely horrified, Bruce, with his last remaining humanity, told Groot that they failed, where he transformed into a fully zombified Hulk. The undead Emerald Giant would then leap at Groot, who thankfully had some fancy footwork, and dodged out of the way, sending the dude tumbling into a nearby lab tank. This would give poor Groot only a second's reprieve though, where he was soon cornered by the entire team of Avengers, who were too keen to turn him into a nice vegan dinner. Thinking all just may be lost, Groot's intelligent mind would then cause him to gaze upon Zombie Thor's hammer, which was now a bent stop sign, due to him becoming unworthy when he became infected. This made him think back to when they first discovered Odinson, who was using Mjolnir's electricity to keep the virus at bay and stop him from fully transforming. Blessed with an idea, we would see what I personally feel is probably the most ridiculous set of panels in all of Marvel Zombies, where Groot would then activate the lab sprinklers with one hand, causing it to rain inside, where he then let the zombies gang up on him, where he then uses other hand to stick his wooden fingers inside an electrical socket, causing immensely powerful bolts of electricity to course through him, and the other Avengers, where it somehow managed to electrocute them enough to straight up cure them of the virus. Guys, I'm not a smart dude by any means, and even I gotta admit this one is ridiculous. I'm all one to forgive dumb comic logic for a lot of things, but the math is just not math in here. If regular electricity was the ticket, why wasn't magic Asgardian electricity curing Thor earlier in the story? Secondly, people like Black Widow are still chemically human. Shouldn't she be dead from all this electricity? Next, Groot is wood. Is wood even a good conductor of electricity? Maybe it's the water from the sprinklers. What is even going on here? You know what? Never mind. What we all can agree on is that this Captain America is pretty jacked. Speaking of jacked, I kinda am too. And I also have a free 2-week superhero training program that you can get access to by filling out our consultation form in the video description. This story went off the rails, guys, and you know what? I'm going off the rails too. Might as well go off the rails together and get buff. Blacking out from the attack, Groot would later awaken, where he is then greeted by the fully cured Captain America and the rest. Apologizing for his harsh words from earlier, Captain told the Tree Man that he proved himself on this day and was worthy of the title of hero. Knowing they still had quite a bit of work to do, Steve decided that they needed to find the General Ross who started this whole thing, for he believed him to be an impersonator, and the real one would never do such a thing. Next, Banner would resume his work on the antidote for the populace, as apparently shocking them wouldn't do. Oh geez, well why not, Cap? It was good enough for you, so why shouldn't it be good enough for Zombie Grandpa down in the streets? Thinking of an easy way to mass distribute the cure, Rogers determined that their best choice for this would be Storm of the X-Men. We would see that this may not be as easy as they thought, where things are taken to the X-Mansion, where we see a horrified Professor X defending a group of mutant children within the Cerebro room. The doors would then tear open, revealing an infected Colossus, along with several other infected X-Men, who happily made their way to their next meal.